Hi there. I wanted to take a few moments and share with you some tips on how you might be able to find the source of error messages in a few limited cases. So let's get into it. So let's consider this problem that's happening at checkout when we try and place an order on this WooCommerce site. We're immediately presented with this error message: zip code is not formatted correctly. We're using a United States address, and it is 5 numbers, so that's formatted correctly for the United States Postal Service. So that error message is a bit odd. The first thing that kind of jumps out at me is the grammatical error, where code here is capitalized and probably should not be. So if that is coming from WooCommerce, then that grammatical error needs to be corrected. So one of the first places we can check is the WooCommerce GitHub repository here. And I will just search the entire code base for that string. And we don't find any matches for it. So it's most likely not coming from WooCommerce. Another tool that can be used is a WordPress plugin called String Locator. It's pretty handy, and what it does is provides you this interface under Tools, String Locator, and we can search through the entire WordPress directory. You can also select just the themes, just the plugins, or you can also select individual plugins. Let's search this same text, and it has found a match in a plugin that looks like it's named Offending Plugin, so that kind of makes sense. Another way that we can check this is if we're working locally and have the entire source code for our website and a code editor. You can just search the entire code base the same way, and again, we get the same match in the Offending plugin. And yet another way to check is if you have access, command line access to the server, you can use a command line tool called grep, which stands for Get Regular Expression Print. Use attack capital R, which will then search recursively, and we're just going to search for that same text. And so again, we found that it lives in the Offending plugin. That's what's causing that error message. So with that knowledge, if we go back to our plugin screen, and we can now deactivate that plugin and try checkout again. And this time we have great success. So there are a couple caveats to this, such as variable text and special characters. Let me show you what I mean. So if you look at, I'm in the translation file here. It's just the easiest way to find variable text. So this %s here, that's a placeholder for a string value. So it'll be an attribute name. And so if you, whatever the attribute name that gets inserted in there, if you're looking for that and it says is a required field, whatever this is, if you're searching for that, is not going to be in the source code, or at least not as one solid phrase. So you'll want to keep that in mind if there are words that could be variable, things that are pluralized. Try and pick out the parts of the text that might not be, like, is a required. That's probably not going to be variable. Field, it might be, you don't know. And the other one is when there are special characters. Here we go. So you'll see that there's an apostrophe in this phrase, but if we search the entire code base, I'm going to remove that word. So as soon as I remove the word that has the special character, then we can see where it's actually output in the source code, and it's escaped. So you need to be careful of that. Don't select words that have special characters when you're doing your search unless you then also search for the escape strings. And that kind of brings up, I do have the French translations here in my site. So that brings up that, oops, here it is. That the error message might be in a language that's not English, or it could be a custom translation. So unless you're also working with the same pot file that you have to search, you're not going to be able to find it. For instance, on the GitHub repo, you would have to go to the site where the message is being output to figure out where it's coming from, find the translation files. And so with that, go forth, search for error messages. Thanks.